everyone. Welcome to this Monday night's edition of The Lightgate. We are coming to you live from the beautiful city of New Orleans in Louisiana at the United Public Radio Network at 107.7 FM and the UFO Paranormal Radio Network at 105.3 FM on the Gulf Coast. We're on Facebook, we're on Roku, we're on Rumble, and we're on YouTube. I want to thank our sponsors for our network. Thank you, Carnation. Thanksgiving's coming, and I can't wait to start cooking, and I do use you everything. Pumpkin pie is my favorite thing to use you for. And we have a wonderful, lovely guest tonight. I'm very excited about her, and I'm going to just send it straight to Preston. Go.
Thank you, Dolly, and thank you, everyone, for joining us on episode 136 of The Lightgate. We've been moving along, so things are going really well. I hope you're having a wonderful evening. Today, we are doing a pre-record, because our guest is in another country outside of the United States, actually in Turkey. And it would be quite late there if we were to do this as a live show. So yes, this is a pre-record. I, of course, am your host, Preston Dennett, and my lovely co-host is Dolly Saffron, subject of my book, Symmetry. We're so delighted you guys could join us tonight. So big hello to all of you guys. I normally go through chat and say a quick hello to each of you individually, but of course we can't do that tonight, but you know who you are and you know that we love you. So let's just get right to our guest today. I am so excited. When I found out that she is active in the field, I was like, wow, and checked out her research. She's got books out and everything, and I am just really impressed and just honored and delighted to have her on. Our guest tonight is UFO and metaphysical researcher Farah Yurdozu. Trying. Yurdözü. There we go. Farah Yurdozu. At any rate, really honored to have her on tonight. She's a Turkish ufologist, author, researcher, known for her work on UFOs and many paranormal subjects. She's a teacher, an expert on tarot, and a generational contactee. She has appeared on many podcasts and has her own amazing YouTube channel. She has published several books in Turkish and in English, and I'll just flash a few of them on the screen here so you can take a look at them. Confessions of a Turkish Ufologist, and that is in English, but there's other books in the Turkish language as well. Love in Alien Purgatory, but here's some other ones in the Turkish language. By the way, this show, I will have Turkish subtitles available one day after we go live. So if you're Turkish, you can absolutely check that out. If you don't speak English, we are going to take care of that because there will be subtitles and captions. So let's see, what else can I say about our lovely guest? Her books include Confessions of a Turkish Ufologist, Love in an Alien Purgatory, UFO Forbidden Zone, UFOs Are Coming, UFO Truths and Lies, and many others. Her books often explore subjects related to UFOs, aliens, and metaphysical topics. Do check out the links in the show notes. Her YouTube channel is absolutely amazing. But without further ado, let's bring on our wonderful guest. Farah, how are you?
Hello. Hi. It is great to be here with you. Thank you so much for the invitation, and greetings from Istanbul.
Wow, yeah, that is so cool. We're reaching people all over the world, so I'm very, very excited to have you here tonight. This is amazing because I love how this subject connects everyone all over the world.
As long as we are still on the earth, we have to connect to each other.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
I 100% agree. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
We're all one. All of us. We need to be one together. So it's amazing.
That's one of the ET messages. Well, yeah, I'm really impressed by your research. Your channel is amazing. Super excited to hear all the information you have to share with us tonight about, early Turkish UFO contactees, your own experiences, Göbekli Tepe, and other really cool stuff that's going on there. But as I warned you in the green room, how I like to start each show is asking our guests, what they were like as little kids. Were you a believer in these subjects? Have you had unusual experiences? What kind of brought you to where you are today as such a prominent figure in this field?
Actually, I was born in a family of contactees. My great-grandfather, my grandmother's father, was a contactee.
Wow.
So he was a law school teacher, a university teacher, but at the end of the Ottoman Empire, I'm talking about the 19th century Istanbul, he was teaching law and actually French and mathematics, but basically law in the Istanbul University. So he was sent to Iraq, to Baghdad, in order to open a new law university and
Wow.
to be the director there. So, as a surprise, he had his first experience, first close encounters in Baghdad. He didn't expect this. It was an unexpected visitation, two visitors. But in those times, nobody knew about the UFOs. They didn't know about extraterrestrials. I'm talking about late 1800s.
Wow.
So in that time, he was a young man, actually. He was 35 years old, and he was married with 5 children. So one of those 5 children is my grandmother. When he needed to move to Baghdad, he had to leave his family, his children, and his wife in Istanbul back here. He traveled there by himself, and he rented a house. Also, I have to mention that in Ottoman Empire, people spoke many languages. Obviously, they were speaking Turkish, but they were very fluent with Arabic and with French. So he had no language barriers in Iraq, in Baghdad. And actually, I would like to ask you one question. When I say Iraq metaphysically or ufologically, what do you remember?
I remember all the way back. I have memories of being Mesopotamian. I have memories of being Sumerian. I have memories even before that. I know who the Anunnaki are, actually.
Yeah, Anunnaki, obviously. Anunnaki,
Yes.
Iraq, Baghdad is the center of the Anunnaki, but also the center of the reptilians.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Because my great-grandfather was visited by 2 reptilian beings
Yeah. Yeah.
in his home, in his
Right.
bedroom.
Yeah.
Wow.
Wow.
So
Did he
in those
describe what
times,
happened? Did
yeah,
he?
of course. So actually, it is a very strange story. As I said, he was working as a government officer in Ottoman Empire,
Yeah.
and his salary was not a very big salary. So when he left his family and when he moved to Baghdad, he started to have financial problems because he was sending money to Istanbul. The life was same, nothing changed. And he was trying to survive with the rest of the salary in Iraq. He was renting a house. So he started to have questions in his mind. Did I do the right thing? Or maybe I shouldn't have accepted this offer, something like this. So one morning, he goes out in order to go to school, to his work, and just in front of the house, an Arabic man stops him and starts to speak with him. And the Arabic man is a total stranger to my great-grandfather, but this guy, this Arabic man, knows everything about my great-grandfather, knows his family, knows his name, knows whatever he's doing. And his
Wow.
name was Refik, my great-grandfather's. He says, listen, Mr. Refik, I know you very well, and I know that you are having financial problems, but I want to help you. And my great-grandfather was a man, very stubborn man. He didn't want to accept any help. And he says that, no, I don't want any help. I don't need any help. But the Arabic man insists, and he says that, take these prayers. It's an incantation. And take these beads, rosary, and please do this ritual tonight. It is a ritual. He describes it a ritual. And then wait, whatever it happens, don't be afraid. So that's a red flag, obviously. If he says that don't be afraid, it's going to happen something very scary. It is obvious.
Yeah.
So then he disappears. And in the same evening, my great-grandfather does a ritual. It's a praying with some numbers, incantations, let's say, but it is from the Holy Quran. So it is from the right-hand path. It is not anything black magic or anything like this.
Mhm.
But he invites something without knowing that he is inviting something or someone. And he lives in that house all by himself. There isn't anybody else. He goes to his bedroom, he closes the door, and in 5 to 10 minutes, suddenly the bedroom door opens and two strangers came inside. They are physical beings. It is not a ghost, it is not a spiritual being, it is not a vision. Two reptilians. But in that time, he didn't know anything about reptilians. Nobody knew anything about reptilians. And he describes them as demonic beings in some way. Yes, they are demonic beings because they are very scary. And this experience was told in our family for many generations, at least 3 generations.
Wow.
And he remembers their eyes very well because they had snake eyes. Yellow snake eyes, and they weren't human, they weren't animals, they were something else. They don't speak with words, they don't speak with a sound, with a voice. They give telepathical messages. And one of them stands by the foot side of the bed, and the other one goes to the head side of the bed, and they try to, how can I say, do some hand gestures. They are trying to give him a message or a training or a lesson with some hand gestures. But my great-grandfather is so much scared. He doesn't want to get any help from them. And he starts to repeat the prayer by reverse.
Ooh.
Wow.
Yes, because he wants to send them back.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can understand. Yeah.
Two reptilians got very angry and they started to leave the room walking reverse, backwards. Just like the old videotapes. Remember?
Yeah.
When you rewind the videotape to the back, the people walks reverse. Anyway, they left the room, but before they left the room, they give him one last message telepathically. And they say, you invited us, but now you are sending us back. This makes us very angry because we came to your invitation with goodwill, but you are rejecting us. So, as a result, from you to the next 3 generations.
Wow.
Next 3 generations. I'm the 3rd generation, by the way. The first generation is my grandmother. The second generation, my mother and my aunt, sisters. And the 3rd generation is myself. Also my cousin. Because we are the great granddaughters of the same person. So what happens? He cannot sleep that night. He wakes up very early, gets dressed, and goes outside. And the same Arabic guy is still waiting for him on the sidewalk. He's very angry too, and he says that, shame on you. I believe that you are a strong man, you are a brave man, but you are a coward. If you had waited, you were going to be a very rich, very wealthy man, thanks to their help. And great-grandfather says that I don't want any help from them, and he gives back the rosary, the beads, the praying.
Oh my. Okay.
Yeah. Anyway, so after that, his mission finishes there, and he goes back to Istanbul, and he tells this experience to his wife. But meanwhile, something has changed in the family. His 5 children, my grandmother and her 2 sisters, 2 brothers, started to develop psychic talents suddenly. Even the 5-year-old youngest brother. Since then, in our family, we have psychics experiences, spiritual experiences, and one of the great uncles was a lawyer as well. and he was a spiritual, not a psychic, but the person who puts the psychic into hypnotic trance. We call that person
Hypnotherapist?
not a hypnotherapist, but he sleeps. He makes sleep the psychic in order to contact the spiritual world.
Okay.
Yeah. So he was a practical spiritualist, let's say, and the others psychics. So this is the family I was born. I guess this is a kind of karmic connection.
Amazing.
Oh, okay. In Turkey, spiritual connections, channelings were very popular starting in 1930s. And also they started the neo-spiritualist wave, neo-spiritualist organizations in 1940s. First in Istanbul and after that in Ankara.
Mm.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
So
See, we don't
everything
know
started
about
like
this
this.
at all. Yeah, that's amazing to me. That's absolutely amazing to me. Let me ask you a question. While all this is going on in your family and everything, is this like a common thing among people in Turkey? I mean, is this widely
Very much so. Yes, very much so. So
That's
the psychic
amazing.
abilities and people who can see beyond that, people who can contact the loved ones, spirits, is very common in Turkey. We are very open-minded, and it is a part of our culture.
Yeah,
It is
well,
not
of
anything
course, there's so
scary
much
or
activity with all of you for eons back. I mean, it started very early in the centuries way back and then came forward. And, you know, here in this country and other European countries, they don't really discuss that. You know, they don't openly admit that there are whole cultures of people out there, especially Turkey, even Iran, where this is a thing, you know, and that we need to pay attention. Absolutely need to pay attention.
Yeah,
So,
this is
very
a
ancient
reality.
culture. Yeah.
yes.
This is a reality. Also, not only psychic ability, not only the mediumship, not only the trance mediums, also, especially starting medieval times or maybe before, both in Turkey and also in Middle East, alchemistry has a very important role. Alchemistry, because alchemistry is the science of the spirits, is the science of the connection with the spirits, not only changing the regular metals into gold, because yes, alchemists can transform the basic metals into gold. That's a fact. But this is not the only goal of alchemistry. Alchemistry opens the doors between the physical world and the non-physical world, between two realities, because both worlds are real. This earth is real. Beyond this earth, let's say astral dimension, it is real as well.
Oh, yeah.
So alchemistry always existed in my country, both philosophically and practically. So in that way, Middle East, I talked about Baghdad, I talked about Iraq. Mesopotamia, obviously, is the first place the Anunnaki landed.
Yep.
Wow.
So that's very normal that in that part of the world, these topics has a root. These topics has an understanding. And it is, I can say that it is in the DNA writings of the people.
It is. You're right.
Wow.
I'm a registered nurse retired, and I've studied DNA a lot, and I've gone into the all of the DNA of the human genome, and there are things in the genome that they can't explain, and one of them is giantism. Okay, and it's the red-haired, blue green-eyed, or yellow-eyed giantism, and 6 fingers, 6 toes, and it's in all humanity. Every single ethnicity in the planet has this genetic coding. Okay, and the way they described the Anunnaki, which I've seen, by the way, have all of these traits. And there are things that I was taught as a young person through my family lines as well, that the Anunnaki are at the base of our genetics. We are related to them. We are definitely related to them. And I was always taught that Turkey is pretty much in Mesopotamia as the birthplace of all of us. You know, they want to put us in Africa, but I don't think so. I think that's where we're from. Okay. That's where we landed. You know, we came in here from there.
So I also want to talk about Göbekli Tepe and Karahan Tepe. Both of them are in the eastern part of Turkey. And I don't know if you ever heard about the Şanlıurfa, the city Şanlıurfa. Actually, it is Edessa. It is in the Bible.
That's
where
right.
the Abraham lived.
Right.
Wow.
Yeah. Also, Moses spent some time there.
Yeah.
Both Moses and Abraham lived in that part of Turkey. So Göbekli Tepe and Karahan Tepe both are located close to Şanlıurfa, 15 kilometers to the city center. And they were discovered by a farmer, obviously, as usual, in 1980s. And later, a German archaeologist, Klaus Schmidt, started the excavations, archaeological excavations. And now, today, we have more than 12 Neolithical sites underground.
Right.
Only 2 of them are discovered and open to visit. I sent you the photographs of both Göbekli Tepe and Karahan Tepe. They are 12,000-year-old human-made structures. This is Göbekli Tepe. So Göbekli Tepe is famous with the T-shaped stone columns, limestone columns. And the column at the on the left side of the picture is a star map on the left side.
Yeah, right
yeah,
there.
That one.
Being with
there
the
is
ball.
a big bird, yes. And on the top of the column, you see 3 handbags, Anunnaki handbags.
Ah, right.
Yeah. As you know, all over the world, Anunnaki reliefs or images carry a handbag. So 3 handbags. And in the lower part of the same column, you see some birds, some small birds, some big birds, and probably in the other part of the lower part of the column, you see a scorpion. So this is the sky map of 12,000 years ago on the day of the solar solstice. So when you compare the astronomical sky map of 12,000 years ago on the day of the solar solstice, it is the same map. So we are talking about pre-pottery Neolithic times. According to some historians, according to some archaeologists, people who built Göbekli Tepe and Karahan Tepe were living in the caves. They didn't have any technology. They didn't have, of course, any advanced tools. But how did they build these gathering sites? At the beginning, people believed that they were temples, but now we know that they are not temples. We call them special place, special site. So the characteristics of Göbekli Tepe is round-shaped stone walls, a circular stone wall, and around the stone wall, 10 to 12 smaller size T-shaped columns, and in the center, 2 gigantic T-shaped columns face to each other. This pattern repeats again and again. And I'm taking tours to Göbekli Tepe and Karahan Tepe almost every month. When we are walking around on the hills, we still see the top parts upper parts of the T-shaped columns under our feet, because we know that probably 20 or more similar structures are still buried in the ground.
Right.
Wow.
They are. It's deep, very deep there, right?
Very
There's
deep.
more going on under there. They want to, don't they want to keep excavating? Have y'all been stopped from continuing by anybody
No,
to excavate out?
the excavations are continuing because
Good.
I'm there every month and I
Okay.
can observe. And there are more and more findings. But
What
as you
is-
can imagine,
Yeah.
it is very difficult because you have to be very careful not to harm the relics, the sculptures,
That's right.
the
What is-
objects.
What is your opinion of what the T-shapes are for?
Well, my own interpretation is it represents the Taurus energy, T-shape, Taurus energy, the Taurus energy of the universe.
Hmm.
Wow.
The Taurus energy is around everywhere.
Did you ever-
Actually, yeah,
you ever-
go ahead.
Did you ever consider that they might be landing platforms for small craft?
It is a little bit difficult because in every structure, in the center, there are two columns faced to each other. I think they were batteries, positive and negative ending. They
Mhm.
were batteries in order to charge the human energy.
Oh.
Because whoever constructed Göbekli Tepe and Karahan Tepe probably had a different kind of biology, had a different kind of body system, and they needed some recharging, just like we are charging ourselves every night sleeping. But maybe they didn't need to sleep. They needed to charge themselves in another way. This is Karahan Tepe. This photograph, I took it in Karahan Tepe. It is another big gathering place. Actually, there are two more places connected to each other. And on the right side of the picture, on the right side of the photograph, you can see a special sitting area. I think it was for a special important person, like a leader, like a shaman, like a political leader, or like a cultural or religious leader. So in every gathering area, there was a special sitting place, like a VIP section for an important person. Yeah,
Wow.
it is a little bit up there. Yeah.
All right. Wow.
If you
Amazing.
can go forward with another photograph from Karahan Tepe, I
Yeah.
would like to show you something else.
All right.
There is another Karahan Tepe photograph that's very unique because these places weren't built by cavemen. These places weren't built by. Okay, here. So if you can watch closely, on the surface of each column, there are three columns there. You can see the relief of human beings, and they are wearing long robes. So they were wearing clothes. They were not naked. They
Right.
were not using animal fur in order to cover their body. They were wearing long robes. They were wearing long clothes.
Wow.
So this is a sitting area. That's a special area for a special person.
Very interesting.
Yeah. And this was built 12,000 years ago. This is long before Sumerian Empire, Sumerian civilization, long before Egyptian civilization. And all over this area, underground, is full of the similar structures, similar buildings.
Really amazing. So
It is amazing. Also, based on my research, I found 5 to 6 different human types who lived in the same area. I grouped, okay, here you can see the human forms on the
Right.
surface of each column. Yeah.
Yep.
They are wearing robes, long robes. Can you see?
Yep.
Mhm.
Yep.
Their arms and their legs.
Yep.
So they were not naked cavemen.
Amazing.
Yeah. And there are more I would like to share with you. Actually, there are 6 different human groups who lived in this area, probably who built these structures. Some of them look like us, very much human looking, but some of them are very different. Some of them are very strange. Can we show them?
Sure. Here, I'll tell you what. We'll just go through the pictures you sent, and you can comment.
Okay, it says group 1, group 2.
All right. I saw that. Hold on. Here we are.
Group 1, group 2. Yeah.
There we are.
Yeah, that's the first group. As you can see, the head shape is different than ours. It is elongated.
Mhm.
On the right side, we call it stargazer. No, not this one. Yeah, stargazer. That's an incredible sculpture. So it shows a being, probably not human, looking at the sky. In the middle, another elongated hat being. It is from Karahantepe. And on the left, actually, it was found in Adıyaman. So this was the first group to me. They don't look like human. They are not human. They are something else. Maybe they were robotic beings. Maybe they were not biological beings. Maybe they were robots. So let's look at the second group.
How large are these? Are these?
Well, okay. The one on the left, it is around 1 meter. So I'm
Wow.
using the European metric system, 1
Yeah.
meter.
3 feet.
And the head in the middle is around half a meter. And on the right, it is around, again, 30, 40 centimeters.
All
Okay.
right.
For European measures.
All right. Ooh,
Okay, that's the fourth group, actually. Can we
Okay.
see the second group?
Let me see if. Okay, I've lost it. Hold on, I will find it.
Okay.
Give me 1 second here.
Yeah, sure. Okay.
Okay.
So that's why you have to come to see them in the museum.
I would love to. I really, really would.
For some reason, it's not bringing them up.
They are in Şanlıurfa Archaeological Museum. It's an amazing museum. And it is incredible to see what people did 12,000 years ago. So they were very talented artists.
Hold on, I'll have to pull this up again.
Okay. So the other thing is that also
there we go.
Okay. Yeah, that's the second group. So that's very interesting too. As you can see, in each one, a human is held by an animal. The first one on the left, it is from Nevali Chori. It is another neolithic site in the same area. And what you see is the back part of a bird.
Mm-hmm.
The head is missing.
Mm-hmm.
A bird is holding a human. In the middle picture, like a bear, a strong animal is holding another human being. And the third one is the same way. And my interpretation is maybe there were some scientific research between the human and animal genes. Maybe they were trying to create a new race using both human and animal genes.
They look almost reptilian too. At least, the one on the right.
Actually, they are not reptilian. The second one and the third one are like a bear.
Okay.
And the first one is the backside of a bird.
Of a bird.
It is the tail and the wings of a bird, but sadly the head is missing.
Yeah.
But when you look at from this side, it looks like the face of a reptilian, but it is not. So let's look at the third picture, I mean.
All right.
Group 3.
Here we are.
Okay, so here we have human-looking ones. They just look like normal humans from this planet. And the one in the middle is very famous because it is the first human-sized sculpture ever made in the world. It is not the first human sculpture, but it is the human size. So it is like 170 for our measures. And as you see, it is not a caveman. He is not a caveman. And he has a double V neck, which repeats in many other sculptures. On the right, on the left, there are from Karahantepe. They have the double V necklace or the cloth. So I think that it was a sign of a group. It was a sign of a maybe sect. And obviously we don't know who were these people, what they did represent. Were they priests? Were they political leaders or religious leaders or shamans? And on the right, different sizes, we see the regular normal looking humans. But on the top, on the right side, on the top, you see a black guy, dark skinned guy. And it was made from a black stone. And it looks like a native person from another country.
Wow.
Can we look at the fourth one?
Sure. Hold on. Let me see if
Group
I can.
4, actually.
Yeah. Let me see if I can find that. For some reason, it's going to take me a second here.
Yeah, sure.
Have to pull this out here. Yeah, these are very interesting. Group 4. Let me see. Where was that?
Yeah, group 4.
Oh, here it is. Okay. Let me just pull that up now. Share screen. There it is. Okay.
Yeah, reptilians. So, typical reptilians. They are not human.
It kind of looks like them, yeah. I've actually seen a reptilian in my lifetime. And that's a good, yep.
They are not human. So, whoever lived in Göbekli Tepe and in Karahantepe almost 1,500 years, why they were repeating the same structures of the buildings? Because they repeated the same T-shaped columns and the same round-shaped structures again and again. But their human sculptures are different because they encountered different types of humans or non-humans. Elongated heads, normal regular humans, and these ones.
Have you thought about the fact that ETs may have been living among the people back then, openly living among them and working with them?
Well, I am thinking that whoever built the Göbekli Tepe and Karahantepe got some help from somewhere.
Right.
And that somewhere is not from this planet. That somewhere is beyond of this planet. So they were visited. They learned something from some group of visitors.
Yes.
Or maybe those visitors had to stay in that area for a while.
This is an interesting photo here of Karahantepe.
This is in Karahantepe as well. Also, look, this is kind of a pit, but it is caved inside of a rock. And the columns are caved from the same rock. So I'm trying to say that the columns, they didn't bring them from outside.
No, they carved them directly from the rock available.
Yes, directly from the rock.
Okay.
Also, inside of the rock, you will see a very interesting human head. I also sent you the larger photographs of the same head. It says Karahantepe had 1, Karahantepe had 2.
Oh, all right. I'll find that. Give me one
It
second.
is carved inside of the same rock as well.
Wow.
There you go.
Yes.
That's
So
amazing.
if you pay attention, he or it has a snake-like neck. Can you see?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Under his chin.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So obviously this represents somebody important because this is definitely a ritual site. According to archaeologists, it was a kind of initiation site for the young men, probably, to be accepted to the society when they reach to a certain age. But everything, the ritual, the initiation ritual, the ceremony, was held in front of this head. So what did this head represent to them? It has kind of Asian features,
Yeah.
different than the others.
Wow. No,
Yeah.
That's amazing that these have survived for so long. So,
Yeah,
Dennis
because they
Sanovian.
were
He looks
they were-
Dennis Sanovian to me. Yeah.
protected under the ground because whoever built these sites 12,000 years ago, before they left the area, they covered everything and they hide it.
all right. So it was intentionally buried to protect
Definitely to protect it. Definitely. Yeah.
it. Wow.
Also, there is another sculpture found in the same area, and the title is Karahantepe. It shows a male sculpture. It shows a man.
All right. I'm not sure which one you're talking about, but I can just go through.
It shows a man again.
All right. Let me see. I'm not sure, so we'll just go through some
You
of
just
these. Is this it?
no, this is me.
There.
Yes, that's one. Okay, this was discovered 2 years ago in Karahantepe.
Preston,
Uh,
zoom in on his hands, please.
Excuse me?
Preston, zoom in on his hands. What is
Yeah.
between his hands?
Yeah,
That's his. He's a male, Dolly.
his male organ. Yes.
All right, he's a boy. All right, they're depicting a male. Okay.
Yeah.
Definitely a
So
guy.
he also has the V-neck, a V-shaped neck or
Yeah.
necklace or the cloth. We don't know, but it looks like a necklace. So this was found in a kind of offering temple.
It
So
almost
they
looks like
offer
it's a
things.
skeleton, you know, like that's his rib cage on the top. You know?
Yeah.
It's interesting because there's the sternum and the rib cage, and it's an interesting rib cage to me because there's a lot of ribs going on there. My goodness.
Yeah.
Okay. What do you think was next to him? Is it another? What was that object next to him? Just
Another T-shaped column, but the top
okay.
of the T-shape was gone.
Okay.
It was broken. Actually, this sculpture was found in 3 pieces. It was broken too. So the archaeologists put it together. So as a result, in Karahantepe and in Göbekli Tepe, Tepe means the hill.
All right.
It's a burying hill. Something was happening 12,000 years ago. The problem is that they didn't leave any written information. There are no scripts. There are no alphabet. There is no writing. as they didn't leave anything written on the stone or anywhere else, we still cannot identify who were these people. We just try to understand, comparing the sculptures, comparing the architectural structures.
So these are all from 3 different sites.
Yes. In the middle, Şanlıurfa, the city center. On the left, Karahantepe. And the right, it is another village, Sayburç, but it belongs to the same tradition.
Wow. That's amazing. And what is that right next to the one on the right here?
2 lions.
Oh,
2
okay.
lions.
Yeah.
Because they were lions in Turkey in that time. And on most of the stones in Göbekli Tepe, we can see the reliefs of the lions and the other natural animals.
Wow. That's really quite astonishing. All right. And
Definitely.
can you tell us?
And that is one of the first and only female descriptions found in Göbekli Tepe.
Wow.
Because until 2 years ago, this was found in 2 years ago. Until they were found this one, we believe that they only produced male sculptures. This was the first one. It shows a pregnant female.
Wow, that's amazing.
It is in the museum now.
Yeah, I don't think many people have seen this. It's brand new. That's really
12,000 years ago. And next to that, there are some smaller sculptures. They also represent the females. Okay, so this is the first totem of the earth, of the world, I think. This is a totem found in Göbekli Tepe. In a very strange way, it shows 4 generations to me. Because on the same totem, there are 4 faces. 2 of them are destroyed. And there are 4 pairs of arms connected to each face. So from the top one to the lower one, the faces are getting smaller. And the first one, the first head, also ears, like animal ears.
very interesting.
As you know, in some of the societies, shamans wear an animal fur in order to show their clan or their connection to the nature. So 4 pairs of arms and 4 faces. To me, 4 different generations or 4 different races. And this is the first totem in the world. The very first totem.
Astonishing. That's really amazing. And
Totems are sacred for many societies, ancient societies, because it represents the connection between the sky and the earth, between 2 worlds. But we see totems in Asia, in South America, North America, Australia, New Zealand, in many places. Let's say that people traveled and they saw the totems in one place and they tried to repeat the same thing. So 12,000 years ago, how did they know about the conception of a totem? How did they know about it?
Wow.
Yeah, this is the same totem.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's almost like it's a connection of different people all together, you know?
Yeah.
It's representative of generational connection, but you know, it's amazing.
And how large is this one as well? How many?
Well, around more than 2 meters.
Oof. All right.
Yeah, of course. It is one piece again. It is carved from the one stone.
What site did this come from?
Göbekli Tepe.
Göbekli Tepe, okay.
Göbekli Tepe. Yes, this is from Göbekli Tepe too. Okay, and it is located in the museum today. in Şanlıurfa Museum.
All right, let me see. Here was another one that I was kind of interested. Let me see if I can find it. Oh yeah, here we are. What are we looking at here?
Well, this is a masterpiece, obviously. This is a masterpiece. This was discovered in Nevali Chori. Nevali Chori is another Neolithical site in the same area. So this was one of the first discoveries. The head of a human being, but sadly the face is completely destroyed. So maybe it was the part of a totem, or maybe it was a sculpture, but the rest of the body is missing. We are very much interested in the snake on the back of the head. So the snake symbol shows in many places in Göbekli Tepe. Not only there, snake symbolism repeats again and again on many stones, on many columns of Göbekli Tepe. So if snake represents the knowledge, if snake represents the health, because in our society, snake is related with the health,
right?
And it also represents astrologically the 13th horoscope sign,
right? The caduceus. All nurses and doctors use the caduceus.
Yeah,
that's our symbol.
So maybe this was a healer,
right? Yeah.
This person was a doctor, was a healer.
Yep.
But again, as there isn't any written texts or stone carvings, we don't know who is he.
So how long have you been studying these things? Göbekli Tepe and
well, actually, since I moved back to Istanbul, and I have been taking tours to Göbekli Tepe and Karahan Tepe in the last 7 years, every month. So I'm there every month.
Wow.
Okay.
So,
yes.
So
not only Göbekli Tepe and Karahan Tepe, obviously we have other very interesting places like Cappadocia underground cities, Cappadocian underground chambers. Cities actually more than chambers. Imagine that. Cappadocia is another mystery in Turkey, in the central part of our country, and they are dated to 10,000 years ago. And 8 to 10 or maybe more floors underground. And the first Christians used the underground cities of Cappadocia in order to hide from the Roman soldiers. But obviously the first Christians had no chance to build them.
Nope. No.
They had no time, they had no tools, nothing. Because probably, I hope we will have a part 2 with you. And I would like to talk about the Cappadocia and Cappadocian underground cities, because it is another incredible world under the ground, hundreds and maybe thousands of rooms and halls and temples linked to each other.
Wow, hundreds.
Yeah, and it goes down.
Yeah, well, did you ever get the idea that maybe something cataclysmic happened 12,000 years ago and they all went underground to save themselves?
That is one theory. They had to hide.
Or they came back and were there.
Natural disaster, probably, yes.
Yeah.
Or another theory, I agree with you, with your theory, but there's another theory. Maybe whoever built the underground cities of Cappadocia were not able to live on the surface. I mean, maybe the sunshine was a poison for them. Maybe sunshine was killing them. They had to live inside of the earth. So Jules Verne knew something.
The reptilians, yes, I believe that's true. I really do.
Possible.
Because they are from the earth. They're original to the planet. We are not. Okay.
Probably.
And that's where they dwell. They're undergrounders. Yeah. And people don't realize that they couldn't handle it at all. I don't think it's ET. I think reptilians are from here, and that ET worked with them back then. They are sentient as we are. They're very intelligent species humanoid. They are humanoid, by the way. They have reptilian brains, but they are humanoid reptilians.
Yeah.
And they're very unique, as a matter of fact. And so, yeah, that's what I think. I think you're exactly right. I think the reptilians were hanging out under there. They really do. I think they coexisted with them at the same time. And why we can do that now, I don't know. But yeah.
Also, Cappadocian underground cities is a huge city. Actually, it is a huge city under the ground.
Yep.
With many chambers, with many rooms, temples,
yeah.
living areas.
Do you have any idea how many people might have lived there at that time?
Well, at least 10,000, maybe 15,000. It's a huge place. Even today, you can live there. Why? Because
it's still stable, right? It hasn't.
Very strong.
Yeah, it's very strong. It's it held up. Yeah.
In the winter, it is warm. In the summer, it is fresh and cool.
Yeah.
So they have a natural heating system and air freshening system. So you can breathe there very comfortably, even deep down. Yes.
Now, is this area open to the public? Can anyone visit it?
Of course, obviously, it is a national museum. I mean, I also take tours there a few times in a year, and I have been there many, many times in the underground cities of Cappadocia, and it is a very popular tourism location all over the world.
Wow.
So we get lots of tourists from many countries, from Asia, from the United States, from Europe. Wow. Actually, it is a very busy tourist attraction.
I can imagine, yeah.
Yeah, it's the National Museum, open to public.
I'm going to put up another image here. This is interesting. The first human-size statue
in the world, as far as we know. And we call him the man from Urfa, because this statue was discovered during a construction in the middle of Şanlıurfa city. Not on the mountains, not on a burial site. It was discovered in the middle of the city, underground, obviously, underground.
Wow. It's really quite well done.
Well done, and it looks like a neatly shaved man, no beard, no mustache, no big hair. As they discovered the Neolithical cavemen, they say that our Neolithical ancestors lived in a poorly hygienic situation. It is not like that. As you see, he is very normal, neatly shaved, and also all of the male sculptures were discovered in Göbekli Tepe are shaved.
Oh, really? Well, that's kind of
no hair, no beard, no mustache, nothing.
Well, I
he look. I'm going to be honest with you. He looks like a tall gray to me, and they have no hair, and they are anatomically correct as we are. They are just like us, okay.
Yeah.
And the minute you brought that up, I'm going, yep, there's a gray. They can look as human as we are, or a little bit, a little bit more Asian looking, more the broader eyeballs this way. But there are different ethnicities of the grays, just like there are different ethnicities here.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And I think the V-neck is exactly, just so you know, it's the, they wear a bodysuit with a V-neck like that with the double line in it. Okay. And I think it's depicting that. And I think, that's amazing to me. That like any, and there's, the tall grays live using interdimensional travel. Okay. And the craft that they have are electromagnetic, and it literally electrolyzes all the hair out of your body. That's why they're bald. Okay. Literally, they have no eyebrows, nothing, no eyelashes, nothing. Okay, nowhere, and they're not showing him with hair. So I'm thinking that's a tall gray, and who were in those days working around them as well. So yeah, that's wild. All the different ethnicities you see. I want to bring something up to you. I want to ask you a question. Have you ever considered, the human genome has every ethnicity on this planet, including all the flora, all the fauna, everything, if it's biological, it's in our DNA. Bananas, grass, bonobos, you name it, we have it. But we also have birds, monkeys, canines, feline, horses, everything. All that DNA is in us. And one of the things that, when I look at all this beautiful, beautiful things that they left behind, okay?
Yeah.
In my mind, what I was taught growing up about this by ET themselves was that we are all connected 100%, and there are ethnicities of us throughout the entire universe, and that our bodies and our DNA are the template of all life. And it just turns the dial on it just a little bit differently. Some of them look feline, some of them look like birds, some of them look like bears, blah, blah, blah, blah, blah. And I think 12,000 years ago, and there's a reason why it's 12,000, by the way. Just saying, I'm going to talk to you about that after the show. Get you to talk. But it's that's how connected we all are. And it's like, there's proof right there in front of us, in front of everybody. And why it's not more widely known. And I'm asking you, does the governments of the world accept the fact that Göbekli Tepe and all of the other sites are probably the key to all understanding of who we are, what we are, and how we got here? Do they admit that at all?
Kind of like a library.
Here is the situation with Göbekli Tepe and Karahan Tepe.
Okay.
So far, only 5% of the location is uncovered. Only 5%.
Wow.
So before we definitely talk about it, we have to uncover everything.
The whole thing, yeah.
At least 50%. So this is what I'm showing you is 5%. It's very little.
Well, just think what might be down there. I mean, there could just
imagine. And I'm saying that with my own experience. There is another Turkey under Turkey.
Yeah.
There is another country right under our feet. As I mentioned, when we go there to the hills, we step on the columns because we see the heads of the columns. It is everywhere.
Yeah.
And they have a vibration.
Yeah. Yep.
Each of them has a different sound.
Right. It emits a frequency, right?
Yeah.
You could almost say this frequency is exactly only this one right here, right?
Yeah.
And the other ones, they have their own dialed up frequency, and they're no two are alike. Yeah. That's
especially Göbekli Tepe, for me, is a living creature. It has a heartbeat. It is breathing. It is a living creature. It is not just stones or carvings or circular stone shapes or walls. It is a living creature.
When was Göbekli Tepe discovered, and how long has it taken to get to 5% of uncovering
Almost 20 years. Almost 20 years.
All right. So how long is it going to take?
Step by step. Well, probably next 50 years. 50 more years.
So every year you get another 5% or so.
Well, it is a very difficult area to work on. First of all, the temperatures are very high. And you have to be very careful when you are digging out the pieces.
Yeah, you don't want them to crumble. That's right. Exactly.
They work with tiny, tiny brushes, not to hurt the pieces. And after that, there is a cleaning process. There is an analyzing process. I mean, when between the digging out from the earth until they put it in the museum, it takes time. It is not an easy job.
Yeah.
Have they ever found any human remains or anything, or is it all just stone artifacts, or is there wood or metal?
Yes. The problem is that in Göbekli Tepe, they believe that people didn't live because there are no burial areas. There are no cemeteries. Okay. They used the area, but where they lived, we really don't know. And what they did do with their dead ones, with the corpse.
Maybe they were rescued and they left.
Or maybe they were leaving it on open air, leaving it to the wild birds to take the flash.
Hmm.
This is another way to
Yeah, I know that's
burial.
in Tibet. I think they do that.
Yeah,
Oh yeah, and if
like Native
20,000
Indians.
years, bones go completely to dust, there wouldn't be anything left. You know,
probably.
the only thing that would be left would be a bracelet, some metal, that kind of thing.
Or maybe they were burying. They were burying the skeletons.
Yeah.
Because so far, yes, there were found some pieces of a skull, some pieces, but not the complete skull.
Right. And it's too
Some
old
pieces.
to get DNA from. Yeah. It's way too old. That's why the Egyptians did what they did. They embalmed to keep it moist enough to keep it, intact. Because anywhere in the desert like that, it's just going to go and be gone.
Yeah.
So, okay.
So it is very exciting because the discovery of Göbekli Tepe, both Karahan Tepe, has changed the world history. So the history books has a different beginning now.
They all have to be rewritten.
I know.
They have to be rewritten, yes, because now we knew that the written history starts with the Sumerian civilization, but no, it started long before the Sumerian civilization.
Right.
So long before the Egyptian civilization. Imagine that Göbekli Tepe is much older than Stonehenge.
Right.
Wow.
I think it's way more than 12,000 years, actually.
Maybe more than 12,000 years.
We're looking at between 12 and 17,000 years. I think that's the window right there.
At least 17.
Amazing.
So they are using the carbon-14 analyzing system in order to detect the age of everything there.
Right. And it's not a foolproof thing, It's because atoms degrade, our sun degrades everything, even atoms, and you can date, but then you've got the sun beating down on everything with that radiation and it degrades. So way older than they realize. Yeah.
Well, we had Michael Cremo. He's an archaeologist on our show. He wrote Forbidden Archaeology.
Yeah.
And you know him.
I know him, of course. I know him.
I thought you might. Yeah.
I didn't meet him in person, but I know about his work.
Yeah, well, he's definitely kind of confirming many of the things you're saying, that human civilization goes much farther back.
Much farther back, obviously, much farther back. Globally, not only on...
Exactly, yeah. And technology, or technologies in place all the way back that we don't even have now, that just sort of disappeared, and now we're just trying to catch up again. It is amazing to me how this is all, with the...
Actually... excuse me, I would like to mention about one more important case from Turkey.
Okay.
The very first contactee. Shall we talk about him a little bit?
Yeah.
Yes.
Contactee.
Yeah. Okay.
So this gentleman sadly deceased many years ago, but his first contacts started in 1946. 1946, 1 year before the Roswell crash case. Roswell case, 1947. His contact started in 1946. So actually, he was a 15 years old boy living in Cappadocia area.
Okay.
So in the daytime, one day in the nature, he was a shepherd. He was guiding his animals. In the daytime, suddenly he sees an object from the sky, and a metallic object comes from the sky and lands on the earth with lots of smoke and flames. And just after the Second World War, he thinks that this must be a rocket from a military force, from an army. But the thing is that this guy had his contacts all of his life until he died.
Okay.
Starting when he was 15 years old, all his life. He only gave 2 interviews to the press.
Wow.
And in one interview, he said that he didn't know writing and reading. And in the second interview, he said that he finished only the primary school. So I never met him in person. I never had a chance to interview him. That's why I don't know if he was able to read and write or not. But it is not important because in 1946, in the village, in a very remote village where he lives, there was no electricity, there was no power. It was just after the Second World War, and in the middle of Cappadocian area, a very remote town, a very small village, no electricity. It means that they didn't have radio, they didn't have television, they didn't have telephone, they didn't have nothing. Time to time, they would get a newspaper. They didn't even have a radio, imagine, because they didn't have electricity.
Wow.
But what he saw all his life has changed his life. So he describes three beings, three visitors. And he made his drawings, their drawings. As you can see, one man, actually two male and one female visitors. And he says that three of them looked like each other, identical, like from the same mold.
Yeah, we hear that a lot with contact cases.
Obviously. And the two males had no hair at all, just like we saw in the sculpture. And the female one had a very long hair, all the way down to her legs. And the contactee, Behçet Öcal, his name was Behçet Öcal, said that they had something hanging on their neck. And it was the size of a small mirror. And he describes it as an instrument to communication. And he also says that it has a small screen and it has many buttons and there were lightings on it. It was shiny. And he describes the cell phones. He describes the smartphones.
Wow.
For some reason, he says that I knew that instrument was for communication. He doesn't know how, but he knows. And in his life, he never used even an old-fashioned telephone.
Wow. So did he describe just meeting them face to face, or did he actually go onto their craft?
Face to face. The first meeting was face to face. And they spoke with him telepathically. They said that they are coming from another planet and they are not going to harm him. And one of the men raised up his hand, but his palm, the middle of his palm, wasn't flat like ours. It was like a coffee cup, like hollow,
concave or convex?
Concave.
Okay.
Yes. And when he rises up his hand, the poor guy, Behçet Öcal, at that time he was 15 years old, he fainted. He fell on the floor.
I don't blame him.
He was unconscious for many hours. So by the night time, his family waited for him. He didn't come back home. They started to look for him, and they found him fainted on the ground with lots of burning on his body.
Okay, yeah.
He was taken to a hospital.
Were the
and
burns
luckily he survived.
Were the burns from the sun?
Luckily he survived. Sorry?
Were the burns from the sun or from his encounter, do you think?
From the encounter.
Oh, I saw your cat run by. You have a little cat?
Well, I have 5 cats, by the way.
Okay, we have one too. She won't come out, but
I have 5 cats.
I love cats.
You only saw one of them now.
Okay. So that's astounding. He never really talked much about it, huh? He wasn't seeking
Only 2 interviews.
Hmm.
The first time he gave an interview to a mainstream newspaper in 1972, I think. And after that, in 1980s, he gave the second interview to a monthly magazine, but that's it.
What did he do for his job in life? What was it? How did he make his living?
Well, he's not alive anymore. He died several years ago.
Right.
They had animals. They had farm business, that kind of thing. Yeah, in the village. Yeah.
It's too bad. I bet he could have written a book about all the things he knew.
He didn't write a book, but he tried to make paintings, drawings of what he saw.
Oh.
And according to his claim, they were visiting him every night in his house. And sometimes he says that they were taking him to their own world. And we assume that it was like an astral journey, out of body travel. Probably they were taking him or they were showing him to his astral body. I don't think that they were taking him physically to their planet.
Wow.
And he says that sometimes in his room, on the wall, a screen was opening and he was able to see them like we are doing right now, contact with them, speak with them. So he experienced a lot of things, several different type of beings. He describes them, some of them as living in the water, some of them like amphibians, living on the water and on the ground, different types of beings. But the sad thing is that he was very quiet, and his family insisted him to talk to media, to the press, to the newspapers. It wasn't his own choice to give these only 2 interviews. Yes, he was very quiet.
Did he ever say he learned anything from them? Did they ever teach him anything?
Actually, they made him to draw the design of a machine. Okay, I didn't send you that picture, but if you want, I can send it later.
Okay.
So it was the design of a round shape machine, an instrument, an object, and he never explained what was it. Maybe he knew it, but now when I look at the form of the CERN in Switzerland, the Hadron Collider, it is the same thing.
Okay, wait, you mean like, okay, so it wasn't an orb or anything like that. It looked like a Hadron Collider?
Yeah, a physical instrument. It wasn't an orb. Yes,
okay.
A physical instrument.
Okay. Oh, I got to see that. I really do.
I can send it to you. Yes, I can send it to you. So when you put together the photographs of the CERN, the Hadron Collider, and the design made by him, it is almost the same thing.
Yeah, the inside of the UFO looks like a Hadron Collider, just saying. It has the middle stack in it, you know, the central column, and then it has goes around like that.
I will send you.
Yeah. And it's electrical is what it is, and it creates a graviton wave. So that's interesting to me. Okay. I'd love to see that.
It is very interesting. It is unbelievable.
Wow.
It is really unbelievable. Yeah. The similarity between 2 things.
Wow.
Okay, I think I actually have it. Hold on a second.
No, I didn't send it to you.
No, I remember this case. Hold on a second.
I hope you have it. I hope.
Yeah, because I want to definitely want to see that. That's amazing. So, did he have children?
Yes, he had children, and he had a family.
Actually,
not this one.
Not that one? Okay.
So, let me explain this one.
Okay.
According to him, this was the map of the universe.
Okay.
So this is from his second interview to a monthly magazine about UFOs and the other metaphysical topics. They made him to draw the map of the universe. And each circle, each different color circle shows another dimension. And the location of this planet Earth is just a dot, only a dot. And these are the different dimensions: blue, white, yellow color. Yes.
All right.
And for some reason, they made him to draw it in a circular shaped paper.
Neat.
Wow. All right.
Yeah, clever. Okay, that's the machine that I'm talking about. It. Look at the top part.
Oh, do you know what that is? That's
Yeah.
the schematic. That's a schematic. Oh my God.
You
I'm going
see?
to do something here. Yeah.
You see?
I pilot and I sit in the chair, and that is the chair. That's the schematic for the chair. And above our heads is an energy thing above our heads that we ignite. You know what the purse is? You've seen all the purses. Inside the purse is a little dodecahedron ball of energy, and we ignite it and electromagnetically, and it grows really big.
Yeah.
And it goes over our head when we're flying. Okay? And so we psychically connect to the craft itself, because the craft is indwelled by a fifth dimensional being.
It works as a psychic ball.
That's the seat he drew. He absolutely drew that's not a hadron collider. That is the schematic for the seat.
So that's his head, and there's his arms,
legs. Yeah. And you see the two pads at the bottom? That's where I plant my feet. That is the schematic for the seat that we fly in. It protects us. It Faradays us. That's the Faraday part of it, that he's showing how we're Faradayed, because it's so electrical that it would kill me when I'm flying if I wasn't grounded in it. It would electrocute me to death. Okay. And I have to stay grounded, and it's a Faraday thing. It protects me from the radiation of the entire situation. And the thing above the head, that's where that ball goes. I've described it to Preston. It's in my, that's what that is. I recognize it. Yes. Yep. Wow.
Yeah, this is what they made him to draw.
Yeah.
And they didn't explain it.
I'm so glad that I didn't know that existed. Oh my heaven. Look at that. Wow.
He never explained what is about it. He never told anything about it. Maybe he didn't know.
He
That's
sat
why
in
he never
it.
told.
I guarantee you, if he drew it, he sat in it. He was taken up. He was in it.
Maybe. Yeah, maybe. He didn't want to speak everything. He didn't want to say everything.
Did his children ever talk about what he told them? You know, because children are the harbingers of parents' voices. In other words, parents like to talk to their children, and they tell them things over time. Did he ever explain things to his kids?
We don't know. We really don't know. Because I never met him in person. I didn't have a chance to speak with him. This is the first newspaper article, and it says that on the headline, Shepard Behçet has been in contact with extraterrestrials for 29 years. So it was at the beginning, probably.
Wow.
I mean, all his life he had the contact, but when he gave this interview, it was only 29 years of contact.
Wow.
And this was a mainstream, very important newspaper.
What year did he pass away?
Sorry?
What year did he die?
In 1972, probably. This was 1972.
Wow.
Or 73. Yes, it's an old newspaper article. 1970s.
Holy cow.
So he's probably Turkey's most famous contactee, would you say?
The first contactee, as far as we know, the first contactee in the modern times, let's say.
Right.
In 20th century, let's say. Yeah. After my great-grandfather, by the way. Maybe my great-grandfather was the first one.
Good point. That's amazing, Farah, that you have that story going back.
And there are many others that they keep secrets. They don't want to reveal their names and their encounters. There are many people, of course. I'm kidding when I say the first one was my great-grandfather. At least in our family, he was the first one.
Yeah,
but I'm sure that there are many of them, but they don't want to talk about it, or maybe they don't remember. Their memories are erased, maybe, some of them.
I didn't find out my father was a contactee till I was 14 years old. Had no clue. Yeah.
Imagine.
No clue. Yeah.
So, actually, when we look at the history of our country in Byzantine times, Emperor Constantine, even the Emperor Constantine, the king of the Roman Empire, Eastern Roman Empire, had UFO sightings. He
Yes.
describes that he was seeing flying metal shields
Yep.
on the sky.
Absolutely. Right.
So let's go back to that another newspaper article.
All right.
Okay. So this is actually, maybe this is the first documented UFO case. It is from 1946 as well.
Ah,
So the same year, Behçet Öcal, the first contactee, had his first contacts. And it says that flying saucers were seen in Ankara skies. Ankara is
Yeah.
our capital city, and it is very close to Cappadocia. So first, this sighting happened in the daytime. Everybody saw it, the UFO, and in that time they didn't have a chance to take the camera and take photographs. So they made a drawing based on the descriptions.
Mm.
And they were saying flying saucers in those years. I think the word UFO wasn't created yet. So after this sighting, Behçet Öcal had his close encounters.
wow.
Ankara is Cappadocia is very close to each other. It's the same
Oh.
area.
Yeah.
Same area.
Amazing.
It says that excitement in the capital city. The second headline.
How long was it sighted? How long was it up that they all saw it?
This sighting,
Yes.
probably two minutes, something like this. But it was enough to people to observe it in the daytime and to describe it to the painter.
Mhm.
So it was a typical flying saucers from the early contactees from the 1940s. So when in Europe, especially, there were lots of UFO sightings just before and after the Second World War, especially in Europe, in Belgium, in
Yes.
Germany, and many
Right.
other European countries,
Mhm.
in 1950s as well, 1960s as well, UFO waves in Italy, in Spain,
Yes.
in Turkey, many places. But the interesting thing is that this happened just before the Roswell case, 1946. Roswell happens 1947.
Hmm.
And this happens, and Behçet Öcal starts his contact in the same year. So these are not coincidences. Everything has a meaning. Everything
Wow.
has a purpose, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, they want to be known. The governments are going to talk about it, so they're going to just show up. That's amazing. Oh my gosh.
But what about some of your own experiences? Would you be comfortable talking about that?
Well, obviously, I had a major UFO sighting when I was 15 or 16 years old. And in that time, we didn't have cell phones, we didn't have smartphones, and personally, I didn't have a camera, photographic camera. So I remember very well that it was a May, and mid-May, maybe 15th of May or 18th of May. It was a lovely evening, just after the sunset, but it was still, there was light on the sky, it wasn't dark. We heard a huge motor-like sound outside. And I ran to the window. In that time, we were living very close to the sea
Mm. Mm.
in Istanbul.
Yeah.
Actually, just in front of our house was a beach.
Okay.
And there was no sun. It was after sunset. I saw a huge round-shaped object, completely red, glowing red. And
Wow.
it was the size of a regular car, but round shape, silent. It didn't move. It didn't touch the ground. It was hovering on the surface, hovering on the sands by the beach. So when I looked at it, I knew that it wasn't from this world. Obviously, it wasn't a truck. Obviously, it wasn't a car. It wasn't a bus. It was something else. And I looked at it and I said to myself, this must be a UFO. What else could it be? But at the same time, it had a very deep, glowing red. I looked at it and I said, I hope there is no radiation and it doesn't hurt my eyes.
Yeah.
What year was that? What year?
In 1980s,
Okay.
early 80s.
Was it like a cherry red or an orangey red?
How can I say? Blood red.
Blood red. Okay. All right.
Yeah, red,
Wow.
red.
Okay.
Classical red.
Okay.
Okay, like Macy's star red.
Okay. I got it.
Okay, Macy's logo. So when I said to myself, I hope it doesn't hurt my eyes, it disappeared instantly.
Wow. Yeah, they can hear you
Walked
thinking.
off.
Yeah.
Disappeared instantly. And there was nothing else.
They were listening to you clearly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was gone. So I didn't have any other people, witnesses, to share this experience with me.
It was
Because
for you.
there wasn't anybody on the shore, on the seaside.
Wow.
It was dinner time, so everybody was busy with the dinner preparations in the families at home. So 1 year passed, and I was in a meeting, like this kind of UFO meeting, metaphysical meeting. Another lady who lives in the same area told me that she saw the same object.
There you go.
Oh.
Awesome. That's
So
fantastic.
she described me the same thing that I saw. But with no photograph, with no video, you cannot prove anything. Yeah.
Yep. It's
Well,
what I
for
saw,
though. You know.
And you're allowed, it's important, it's valuable because it is your experience and you have corroboration of it. That's a good thing,
and
it's not you just saying it, now there's somebody else saying it too, right? So that's good. That makes it real.
and
Yeah.
I remember it so clearly even today after so many years.
Wow, that's
Wow.
amazing.
After so many years. Yeah.
Did you tell your family about it at all?
Obviously, I told to everybody, but when I told to everybody, it was already gone.
Oh,
So how can you convince people that there was something else? And it wasn't a car, it wasn't a truck, it wasn't a bus, it wasn't sun.
Wow.
Because sun sets from the right side, it wasn't on the left side.
Right. So that was your first sighting. Have you had others?
Actually, yes, it was my first sighting. And after that, I decided to study UFO concept.
explains
The
everything.
details, yes.
Yeah.
But it took
Wow.
many years to start writing books. And after that, when I lived in the United States, I have been to many UFO conferences as a guest speaker. So in many states, in many cities, yes. Actually, in that time, I wrote a book about another contactee, David Huggins.
Ah, right.
Well, Love in an Alien Purgatory. This is the kind of biography of contactee David Huggins. He's a very dear friend of mine, although I didn't hear from him many years. Actually, I found out that I lived in the same neighborhood with him.
That's, oh my God.
Is that
Yes,
right?
That's
Yeah.
amazing.
in New
That's
Jersey.
synchronicity. Woo, that's
Yeah.
amazing. That was meant to happen.
So he's another contactee. So you can see his photograph here. Actually, I took his
Hold on a
photograph there.
second.
He had his
There we go.
experiences. He had his contacts since he was 8 years old. So when he remembered all his experiences, he started to make paintings of his experiences. And I made this book based on his testimony. So that's a very interesting life story. Actually, it is his life story. And if you can contact him, he will be a perfect guest for your YouTube channel.
Is this book on Amazon?
Yeah, of course. You can get it from Amazon.
Okay.
Yeah. There it is. Okay.
David lives in Hoboken, New Jersey.
Wow. Oh,
yeah, I was living there too.
Yeah. Amazing.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, I met him in a UFO meeting in New York City.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't know anything about David. I didn't know him, but I noticed that he was showing some photographs to some people.
Mm-hmm.
And I approached and I wanted to see what was about the photographs. And it was the photographs of his paintings. So he explained that he has been in contact and he has been drawing his experiences and he takes the photographs, but printed photographs. Back then we didn't have cell phones either with cameras.
Wow.
So we were taking photographs with the cameras and we were printing them out. And we had a small chat in that meeting. And after that, I didn't want to push him more because he was kind of shy.
Mm.
So after the meeting ended, I went to subway station to take the subway back to New Jersey. And here we go. He was waiting for the same train with me. And yeah, we started to speak again. And I found out that he lives in Hoboken, just 2 streets away from my home. Yes.
Wow.
That's amazing. Now, did you have any experiences in America when you were here? Did you have any sightings in America?
Actually, not any sighting. I didn't have a UFO sighting when I was in the United States. I didn't have. So I think these early sightings or early contacts with the beings or UFO sightings, it happens in early years of a human being.
Mm-hmm.
Between 2 to 15, 16. It is a reminder.
Yes. Yeah. That's
to make you remember what's happening.
Right.
And after you remember, you don't need the second dose.
No, it's there. Yep.
It is in your blood anyway.
Yep.
So here's your book, which is written in English as well, right? This one is available. So can you tell us a little bit about this one?
Actually, these are my articles that I was writing for the UFO magazine.
Ah.
Yes, I was writing a column every month for UFO magazine, and this is a compilation of my articles. Yes.
How interesting! What were some of the subjects you covered?
Sorry.
What were some of the articles about? What subjects did you cover?
Well, basically, ancient ufology in Turkish history. And another thing, the founding father of our republic, Mustafa Kemal Atatürk, a world leader. He was our first president after the Ottoman Empire collapsed.
Yeah.
And he was a military man, but also he was a commander, but also he was a historian. He was a writer. He was writing history, geometry, and grammatical books. He was very much interested in the cosmic roots of Turkish nation. And he believed that our origin is the lost continent of Mu, Lemuria.
Yeah, I've heard that. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So in that way, I believe Mustafa Kemal Atatürk was the first exopolitician. You know, exopolitics started in 2000, I think. But Mustafa Kemal Atatürk started exopolitics in 1930s. Because his vision was so wide. And he started to research Mu, Lemuria, and the original Turkish race. Actually, he found out that the ancient language of Mayans, because Mayan civilization is originated from Mu, Lemuria as well. The original language of Turkish race and the original language of Mayan race has similar words, such as I said that tepe, Göbekli Tepe, Karahan Tepe, tepe means hill. In Mayan language, tepek means hill.
Ah,
So many similarities. So, yeah, this was one of my articles for UFO magazine, but also the ancient original Turkish race from Central Asia, from Uyghurs.
Okay,
They
yeah.
believed that their ancestors are cosmic visitors.
wow.
So, of course, it goes back to Mu, and not only that, based on my own research, Göbekli Tepe, Karahan Tepe has a lot to do with Mu as well.
What does Mu mean? The word Mu?
Lemuria, lost continent Mu,
Mu. Okay. That's what I'm trying
lost
to
continent Atlantis, and
Yeah.
Mu, lost
Alright.
civilizations.
Mm.
You
Very
know
interesting.
Atlantis. Lost continent Atlantis.
Right.
It was located in Atlantic Ocean, and lost continent Lemuria, we also call it Mu. It
Mhm.
was located in Pacific Ocean.
Mm.
All right.
And after they collapsed, after they sank, after those civilizations were over, survivors started to immigrate to Asia, to South America, Central America, North America, New Zealand, and Australia. And that's why in Australia, in New Zealand, in Asia, in North Africa, in
Southeast Asian.
Central America and South America, we have very much similar symbols and structures that I showed you in Göbekli Tepe and
Right.
Karahan Tepe.
Yes, absolutely. They were all over the planet at that time. They actually
So
were.
the origin is Lemuria. Origin is the lost continent of Mu.
Wow.
And Atatürk was researching this in 1930s.
Very interesting. So you have
Right.
quite a few books, but they're mostly in the Turkish language. Are you planning on
Yes.
getting these?
Yeah, they were
translated?
published in Turkey. This is UFO Forbidden Zone. And actually, my very first book was UFO. This is the UFO Truths and Lies, because there are many, sadly, fake
Yeah, hoaxes.
cases, fake reports in UFO field, disinformation, let's say.
Right.
This was about the disinformation. And this is about reptilians,
Mhm.
UFOs and reptilians. And yes,
So
I
the
wrote
word,
them in Turkish language.
the Turkish word for reptilian is still reptilian?
Yes, same. Actually, a reptilian is it's in English, but we call them reptilian as well.
Oh, okay.
And this is a novel.
Ah, very
Yeah,
nice.
non-fiction. Sorry, fiction.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I have never gotten around to writing a novel, but one of these days.
Yeah.
I'm going back. So we just
Actually, the name of this book, the title is Life is a Horror Movie.
There's some truth to that.
Yeah, I don't like participating in that either. That's crazy.
Yeah.
I
Life is a horror movie.
Yeah.
Well, any plans to get these translated into English? That would be
Well,
awesome.
you know what? I have been so busy with my tours, with my television programs, with my seminars, with my lectures, with my classes.
You don't have time.
So I really don't have time to get them translated into English. Only in the future, maybe, I'm planning. So I also have a YouTube channel, as you know.
Yeah.
And in my YouTube channel, I give answers to the people who had experiences with extraterrestrials or metaphysical experiences. So it has been very intense as well. I get almost 50 emails every day.
Wow.
From
That's
everywhere from Turkey and outside of Turkey. People have experiences, both with aliens, extraterrestrials, non-human beings. And in my videos, I try to interpret and give an explanation and try to guide them what they experienced, what they lived. Because I see that even though some people live in other countries, they never know each other.
Mm-hmm.
They have the similar experiences. And I have a rule in my YouTube channel. I never explain the name of the experiencers. The names and the last names and the identities are kept as a secret.
That's very respectful.
That's why the name of my YouTube channel is the Unknown Secrets Club.
I like that.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Well, definitely. I hope
So-
everyone checks it out because we do have the links in the show notes to
Right.
your YouTube
Yeah.
channel and your website. We just have a few minutes left. So is there any last messages you'd like to give to our audience?
Oh, yes. Actually, you know what? If you have a chance, please come to Turkey. Even though you are not interested in UFOs or metaphysical subjects, still come to Turkey because
Yeah.
the history started here.
Yep.
We say that 12,000 years ago, but maybe older. You will see our ancestors' face 12,000 years ago.
Right.
And on this land, we have been so many different civilizations, starting obviously after Göbekli Tepe, Karahan Tepe finished. Other civilizations came, basically Selçuks, Ottomans, Byzantine, Roman Empire, Greek Empire, modern Turkey, and it is like a history book. Visiting Turkey, visiting
Wow.
our cities, visiting the museums. We have the best museums of the world in our country.
You do.
You will see the history is living here.
Absolutely.
Also, Istanbul Archaeological Museum is the best if you are interested in archaeology.
Yes.
Thousands of pieces from Roman Empire, from Hellenistic time, from Egypt. And the city is an open-air museum, by the way. Istanbul. I'm from Istanbul. But every city has something and more things.
Oh, wonderful.
Also, I mean, now, look, probably you already know, the new Pope is coming to Turkey now, next week.
Wow.
wow.
Yeah.
Now that's interesting to me.
Yeah.
Really? Wow.
Because it is the celebration of the first Nicaean Council, first Christian Council. So actually, the first Christian churches are located in Turkey.
Yes.
The very first Christian churches.
Yeah.
And St. Paul was from Turkey.
Yes. Yes, he was. He was from Ephesus. And his
No,
name
he was from Tarsus.
Tarsus. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Why do I think it's Ephesus? Okay.
Because St. John was buried in Ephesus.
Oh, okay.
And Mother Mary lived in Ephesus.
That's right. Okay.
And St. George was from Cappadocia.
Yeah. My
So
great
now,
used to say all roads lead to Turkey.
yeah,
All roads.
yeah.
And he was converted on a boat to Catholicism when he came over here. Not kidding.
Yeah.
And he said, Turkey, Turkey, Turkey. That's always
Yeah.
go to
Well,
Turkey.
we're just about out of time now. We have 1 minute left. What's the name of your YouTube channel again?
Okay, in Turkish, İsimsiz Sırlar Kulübü. The translation is Unknown Secrets Club.
Okay.
All right. Very cool. Thank you so much, Farah.
Thanks to you for listening to me.
Absolutely, absolutely. When we sign off, I want you to stay online with us for a few minutes because I have a couple things I
Sure.
want to ask you for sure.
Sure.
Okay.
Okay.
So go ahead, Preston, start out.
All right. Yeah, we do
Have
have
a
to say
great
goodbye.
day. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. We truly appreciate it. We've had an absolute wonderful time talking to our guest tonight, Farah Yurdozu. Got it. So yeah, thank you guys for you who are able to help support our show with donations.
Yes,
You know, we've got a lot of wonderful regular viewers here. Namaste, we love you. Bob Thorson, Louise, all you folks.
Patsy,
Mount
yeah.
Saman, Tennessee, Patsy Poister.
Yes.
So yeah, this has been
Does it sound, yeah. We can name everybody. Yeah.
pleasure, and we thank you very much for joining us on the Lightgate, and hope to see you next week. And I guess Dolly, take us out.
We will see you next Monday on the Lightgate. We are coming to you live from the beautiful city of New Orleans in Louisiana at the UFO Paranormal Radio Network at 107.7 FM and the UFO Paranormal Radio Network. Oh, I did it backwards. UPRN and UFO Paranormal. 107.7 and 105.3 respectively. One's on the Gulf Coast, one's in Louisiana. We love you. We're on Facebook, we're on Roku, we're on Rumble, and we're on YouTube. We want you all to have a really, really great week. Seek all knowledge, know all that is knowable. Turkey is living knowledge that you all need to go check out. We love you. We'll see you next week.
Bye.